my name's Lauren and welcome to another video from the Tiny Menagerie. There are some fish you see in the store that as soon as your eye falls on them, you've just got to rush over and you immediately fall in love with them. They have that allure, that immediate catch of your attention, and they practically demand that you part with some cash for them. And these are not those fish. No one ever saw a young Odessa Barb in a tank and thought, wow, I have got to have one of those. Because these are fish you buy not because they grab your attention immediately, but because you have done your research and you know that great things are going to come to those who wait. And that's because young Odessa Barbs invariably look like this. These are actually adult female barbs, but baby Odessas look like a smaller version of them. But if you buy a group of them and you give them a few months, some good food and a nice comfortable life, and soon those males are going to start to pop out of the crowd. In fact, male Odessa Barbs are a sight to behold, and remarkably challenging to describe to someone. It's like if you took a list of all the things that someone might like to see in a fish, like sparkling blue iridescence, deep black coloration, silver spangling, netting, black-edged fins, spots, stripes, yellow fins, blue fins, red fins, green iridescence, flanks of scarlet and bright red eyes. If you took that list and smushed it all into one, that's what a male Odessa Barb pretty much looks like. They sound impossible when you describe them, and they look absolutely incredible. And at 8 months old, mine are still a tad young. I don't expect these boys to really come into their own for another 6 months or so, because Odessas are a slow burn. They get better and better as they get older. But what do they like to keep, and what kind of setup do they need? Well, the first thing to point out about Odessa Barbs is that they don't actually come from Odessa. In fact, they don't come from anywhere near the city. They originate from a wide area across southern Asia, from China right the way down through Thailand, and there they inhabit a broad range of different habitats, from slow-moving rivers to shallow lakes. And this adaptability really lends itself well to the home tank environment, where they will live very happily in both sparsely decorated tanks and really densely vegetated ones as well, because they spend an equal amount of time both foraging around on the floor in the open, as well as searching around plants and decorations looking for tasty morsels. And food is a big part of Odessa life. They are dedicated prowlers. They are always searching, moving through the tank like they're hunting for something, which most of the time they are, to be honest. Odessas are a powerful species, and despite their small 2 to 3 inch size range, they are quite a formidable force to have in your tank. Watching them moving around their world, they certainly put me more in the mind of a pack of little sharks rather than a few harmless fishes. This being the case, Odessa Barbs are definitely not shrimp safe. Any shrimp is going to get eaten almost regardless of its size. I've seen them even go after bamboo shrimp, but large neocaradinas are definitely going to be on the menu. I don't even trust Odessas to have large Amano shrimp in with them, because they seem to really delight in being out on the hunt, and because they do so in a pack, they're quite capable of flushing quarry out of its hiding places, and any shrimp that's in there is just going to get hunted down. But that is just shrimp, and Odessa Barbs are completely harmless towards other species of fish, including even the really small ones like celestial pearl danios. They can be a little bit bullish though, and very sensitive fish, or those which are easily spooked by having a fast-moving pack in with them, are not going to thrive having Odessa in their tank. So they're not the best tank mates for Apistogramma, for example, nor angelfish, both of whom prefer a much calmer tank. Nor are Odessas good tank mates for fish that stay near the surface all the time. I used to have 4 baby marbled hatchetfish in this tank, but the blundering food-obsessed Odessas would keep lunging at them, and so I had to take the baby hatchets out because the Odessas just kept making them jump. But the vast majority of small, fast fish will be absolutely fine with Odessas. It's not that they're aggressive in the slightest, it's just that they sort of bulldoze about the place. But don't let that fool you into thinking that they're stupid. They are actually surprisingly intelligent, and I found that they recognised me remarkably quickly. Within days of me buying them, the little babies were recognising that I was the one who feeds them, and they are very keen little beggars. They're always pressed right up to the glass as soon as they see me approach. This is a bit of a nightmare if you're trying to film them behaving naturally for a YouTube video, but they are very pleasing as pets. As I've already alluded to, Odessa Barbs are a very active species, constantly on the move, and for that reason they do need a good-sized tank, with at least 100 by 40 centimeters base dimensions, just to give them that space that they need. They do tend to stick in the lower or middle zones of the tank, so they can use quite a large volume, but they rarely go up towards the surface, so they're not going to use the whole tank. And this would be an absolute minimum size as well for a group of 6 individuals. As they are a true shoaling species, they do need to be kept in a group, and if you want to get the absolute best out of your males, you want to see them putting on their finest colours, then you'll want to aim for slightly more males to females, just to really increase the amount of competition there is between them. That way, especially first thing in the morning when the females are more likely to be spawning, the males will really ramp up their colour display just to warn each other off and try and win the attention of the females. Incidentally, I've also found the male Odessas actually mature a little bit faster than the females do, and although the females might be getting a little bit bigger and the males are displaying to them, they're not actually ready to lay any eggs until they're about 8 months old, whereas young males start to mature closer to 6 months old. So if you are thinking about breeding your Odessas, make sure it's the females you're looking at for clues as to when they're ready to breed, rather than looking at the males. The females will grow larger than the males in the end, and when they're ready they'll start weaving in and out of plants and decorations looking for somewhere to spawn, whereas the males will start flirting and competing long before the females are actually ready. In terms of their actual tank conditions, mine have lived in a wide variety of temperatures, and I find that anything between 20 and 28 degrees C is perfectly adequate for them, and a pH anywhere between 6 and 8. In fact, I've found Odessas to be incredibly robust. I've never known them to get sick or suffer from any rot or anything like that. They don't try to jump out of the tank, and they don't eat so much that they give themselves bloat. The females never seem to have any problems with spawning. In fact, I would go so far as to say these fish should be seen a bit like zebra danios in terms of how hardy they are. They are very, very forgiving of mistakes with their tank conditions. And while they will sulk and hide when they're very stressed or something is really wrong with the conditions in the tank, they don't just drop dead like some of the other more sensitive species can. And as soon as their conditions are back up to normal again, they bounce right back without showing any lingering effects at all. Now obviously though, this doesn't mean that they can be neglected. While they will survive in less than ideal conditions, they will thrive and give so much more if you give them a tank that's just right for them. Which isn't difficult considering what a broad range of conditions they can live in. In fact, if anything's going to really stress them out, it's probably going to be lack of space, because they really do like to move around a lot. Overall though, Odessa Barbs are a fish you've probably heard of and done your research on before you buy them, and when you do, you won't be disappointed. They are strong, powerful little fish, they're intelligent and with just that little hint of predator about them. Plus, they are absolutely beautiful to look at, which is always a bonus. Anywho though, I hope you've enjoyed this little video all about Odessas. Happy fish keeping everyone, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye!